toe dit nog vloedbesproeiing was, toe was dit baie keer beter dat die wingerd vuil is, vernaamlik seker.
Hierdie episode dra ons op aan Neef Tolla wat baie bygedra het tot hierdie spesifieke episode. En tragies oorlede is op 25 Junie na 'n lang stryd met kanker. Rus in vrede, neef. Good morning, Kaboes Adventures. We're still here at Lake Grappa this morning. Very sad to be back in South Africa as we wake up with load shedding. Wow. We haven't seen load shedding for a long time. I am so sad our country has gone into such a demise over the last 25 years. Anyway, Lake Grappa is beautiful. It is so relaxing this morning here. We're going to get some coffee. Marina is already having breakfast. We're going to get some coffee. And then we're going to go to Kakamas for a little bit today. Well, how does such a lake end up here in the Northern Cape? The story is quite unique. The Visser family of the farm, Fruison Farming, started developing this resort, and this dam was basically developed as a irrigation dam for the farm. But then their eldest son, Geye, qualified for his South African slalom skiing colours in 2006. And due to the Orange River waters not being constant and the ski course they set up in the river constantly had to be altered, they decided to build this dam or make this dam bigger, to put the slalom course in this dam so that Geye could practice here. Now, I don't think the ski school still exists today, but Lake Grappa really had his fair share in history. And international tournaments hosted at Lake Grappa included the 2010 South African Water Ski Championship, with about 50 skiers from South Africa and Namibia having participating in the European Under-20 Skiing Championship in April 2012 and also the 2014 SA and All Africa Championships. And Lake Grappa has got this very nice setup here. It's very child friendly, as you can see. Kitchen. Smile, girls, wave. Smile. Very friendly kitchen staff. Nice setup outside here on the stoop area, under the tree for the Northern Cape sun. And then this is where all happens at night at Lake Grappa. Kom oom, smile bietjie vir ons on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
The main man here at Lake Grappa, all the way from Kalkrant.
All the way.
This is, and we have a pizza oven, and last night we had the best pizzas ever. Lake Grappa. We're just coming through the town of Marchant. We'll return through here later today towards Ukravis, but today we're going to visit the town of Kakamas, and we're going to look a little bit at the history of Kakamas and how it developed. As you know, also in this area in 1914 was the rebellion of the Boers against Jan Smuts. So we'll see if we can touch a little bit on that, if we can dig up some history on that. So the history of Kakamas basically starts in 1896 with the big drought and the Rinderpest in the Bushmanland, which killed all the cattle, kills all their farming animals, and a lot of people then moved on to Nias, which is just to the southeastern side of Kakamas, literally translated nose. And they tried to make a canal out of the ground to be able to get water to a place where they could irrigate the ground. These people were poor. They were incredibly poor. Some people said that some days, if they had two pots on the fire, and the one was pumpkin, the other one was patats. So they started working on this voer or canal with pick and shovel. That's all they had. And then basically the controversy started. This plight came under the attention of the NG Kerk in the Cape and under the guidance of Eerwaarde Schreder from Uppington. They formed this labor commission, which then took charge of this. Now, this labor colony then included the farms near Soetap and Kakamas, and in July 1898 this was formed. The farmers already had made good progress at that stage after 2 years, and but then they actually was sort of subsidized by this colony, or this labor colony, or the church, which had a shop. So there was no money. Basically, they got paid 5 shillings a day, but then this money wasn't paid to them. It was just held in the shop, and they had to bring all their products or produce to the shop, and they could only sell it at this shop. And in exchange for their wages, they then could buy some groceries. So this led to a lot of unpleasantness because the prices in the shops were quite a bit higher than it was in the Jewish shop just on the other side of Kakamas. But it was strictly forbidden to deal with the Jews, also to sell their produce to the Jews. And anybody caught was summarily dismissed from the colony. Now, these people had nothing. There were no dynamite at that stage. They physically worked with a pick and shovel. There were no donkeys or cattle. They all died in the Rinderpest. So they had to physically carry rocks and stuff in beesvelle, in cattle skins, to the places they wanted to fill up this canal and get it level. And these people were really poor. Some people refer to this not as a labor colony, but rather as a slave colony. They stuck to this because of the promise of someday getting ownership of the ground, and while their plight was further hindered by the 1933 drought, when there were absolutely no water in the river. There were no dams in the river at that time, and there were absolutely no water in the river. So, and then on top of that, in January 1934, this drought was broken by a big flood, and then all their lands and their erven were under the water and had to be re-prepared. Eventually, around 1943, their plight was brought to Parliament, and eventually they got ownership of the ground. Hoekom het party wingerde wat ek nou hier sien in Kakamas is soos die Karsten boerdery is skoon onder. Daar's niks. En dan ander boerderye het nou daar's grooters onder en dan sien ek
Daar gaat niks aan.
die onkruid staan net so hoog. Hoekom?
Toen dit nog vloedbesproeiing was het partykeer beter dat die wingerd vuil is, veral 'n sekere tyd van die jaar en voordat het ryp of so. Dan moet hy vuil wees, anders dan ryp die wingerd vrek. Maar as hy vuil is, dan kry die wingerd nie so seer nie. Maar vroeger jare het ons nou die wingerd skoon gehou met 'n graaf en met die hand. Maar nou, toe die chemie nou inkom, toe word hulle skoon gespuit. Maar dit is nou baie minder arbeid om nou so te hou.
Driving down to the river here, you can see the green and all the plants and the grapes on the left and the right. But remember in 74 and 88, this all was underwater. And you can see the river is quite full. Yeah, there's just no feeling of driving over the bridge, over the Orange River. We're just going to cross the bridge and then back again to the other side. And then you can't visit Kakamas without visiting the famous mas of Kakamas. The saying is, ek is die lig van Lichtenburg, maar ek is liewer die mas van Kakamas. Lunch is on the banks of the Orange River, which is now running quite strongly, here at the mas of Kakamas, at the Quaker Kombuis. The marina is having a large gin provided here or manufactured here at the mas of Kakamas. In the background there, just barely visible, is Neusberg. And that is where my grandfather used to live. And my mother grew up in that area. We're not going to go there physically. We are at the Mas of Kakamas campsite. Very nice under the trees. Another campsite here. Fusions up there. Looks like these guys are here permanently. It is right next to the river. And it's reasonably high still up here. But yeah. Now remember in 1896 when they started digging these canals, Fore, there were no such things as electricity and pumps and stuff. So they had to get this water from the river, which was flowing down the lowest part of the valley, elevated up to a point where they could actually let this flow under gravity back into the acres. And so they had a series of groot Fore and a series of klein Fore.
Yeah, here's one example where the water comes in what is called the small canal or the klein Fore, and it is now siphoned here into the side one, and from here you can see it is higher than the vineyards, and then it is flooded. You can see the water standing, it's flooded.
Now, this is a traditional way to make raisins, where you've got these large cement slabs where the grapes are put on and then dried. Now this is bigger canal. This one feeds from the groot Fore or the big canal, and then then it feeds into the small canals. Klein Fore. You can see from here, obviously the vineyard is lower, and it's gravity feed and then flood. And up there is the original water wheels. Over there is the original water wheels of Kakamas, still 3 of them. These ones are not working, but actually illustrate better what happens in the process. So it's taking up, and then, as you've seen on the working one, into the catchment thing. Then it feeds through the pipe into the tank over here, or the drum, and then from the drum it can be fed with a pipe into the subsequent place that you want it to flow to, as long as it is lower than the drum. Okay, these are original wheels from many years ago. I remember as a boy I grew up here and these were here. So here in Kakamas there's still 3 of them. That is here. En maar vertel 'n bietjie van julle kinderdae, toe julle nou hier groot geword het.
Oh, dat is nie mooi nie.
Ja, Tola sê altyd, daar was altyd bloed betrokken. Maar ek wil jou vertel van hoekom op Kakamas by enige pad wat na die Sudan en my pa het. Hoekom het hulle die begraafplaas langs die pad? Die hoekpen staan eintlik in die pad. Jy moet omry by 'n begraafplaas verby. En een aand kom ek van Sissie Maria af, ek het loop vry met die bicycle. En ek kom terug en Tola en Piet, ek sien jou nou nog die klip wys, staan 'n groot klip, nou staan Piet bo op die klip met 'n besemstok en 'n laken bo. En ek kom in jong reg oor die begraafplaas. En ek kom daar verby. En my een oog kyk die begraafplaas en die ander een kyk nou hier die kant toe, want ek wil nie sien toe kyk. En die volgende toe sien ek hier staan hierdie lang wit ding. En ek klim nog met die bicycle af, soos 'n Christen mens nou moet doen. En ek slaan my hande saam en ek sê, spreek Here, u diensknegt luister. Toe sê Tola, daai tyd het ek nog nie die Here geken. Toe hoor ek, nee, dit kan nie hy wees nie, dit moet Piet en Tola wees. Ja, toe hardloop ek weer daar oor. Toe sit ek van 'n bicycle. Daar oor, oupa het nog al die bult gebly, ons daar onder. Amper moed toe geval laat in die huis af. Dis van Kakamas, gedierig. Jy kan maar ry by hier wel die begraafplase is daar. En in daardie begraafplase lê daar sommer maar net 'n dooie. Maar ek sal in die pad lê. En ek moet by hom verby en ek kan nie. Dis 'n moeilike affære.
We now one of the famous landmarks of Kakamas called the Pink Padstal. Now the Pink Padstal is about 1 kilometer from the river on the southwestern bank. And yeah, it's called the Pink Padstal because it's pink. And a nice place to stop, a nice place to eat. But an interesting thing of this is, although it's about 1 kilometer, this is the mark that the 88 flood was at. So it was about 1.5 meters underwater in 1988. And here you can see that the river is not even visible from here at the moment. So, yeah, this is rose quartz mined in the area.
It's all wall in full of rose quartz.
Wat ben die varkie koop ek eendag. Dan kry die varkie elke oggend koffie. Maar dis per ongeluk 'n swart vark. En later raak die vark te stout. Ek kan nie die vark beheer nie, hy's te stout. Hy kom in die huis in en hy ryk aan alles, hy gooi alles af. Hy's net te stout. Nou besluit gaan die vark verkoop. En nee, hier kom mense, hulle kom kyk na die vark. Ooh, sê die vrou. Nee, dis 'n swart vark. Dis 'n tokkelosie hierdie. Ons wil hom nie hê nie. En hy vark later geruil vir 'n bok. Vir 'n bokoei, 'n boerkop.
Jy het teruggevat na die auto by wie?
O ja, jy vat jou vark terug.
Ek betaal jou.
Toe sê hy, ou, ek betaal jou. Hou net die vark, moenie die vark nie. Ja, dis so nou. En toe ruil ek die vark vir die bok. En toe vat hulle die vark af weg, gelukkig in die einde van die dag.
Jy het die vark se vel verkoop vir beesvel.
En dan moes 'n tokkelosie in.
We're going to end this video here. If you like it, give us a big thumbs up and subscribe. It's free. And then we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.